I feel like new sunglasses, like a brand new pair of jeans. I feel like taking chances. I feel a lot like 17. Oh, 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 oh. Oh, 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 oh. I feel like windows roll down, new cities, streets and cabs. I feel like anything can happen, laughing, you take me right back to when we were kids. I feel like this, like when I close my eyes, don't even care if anyone sees me dancing, and I can fly, don't even think we're touching the ground, yeah, like a heartbeat skip, like an open page, like a one-way trip on an aeroplane. It's the way I feel when I'm with you. I'm brand new. Oh, 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 oh. Like when I close my eyes, don't even care if anyone sees me dancing. I can fly, don't even think I'm touching the ground. Like a heartbeat skip, like an open page, like a one-way trip on an aeroplane. It's the way I feel when I'm with you. I'm brand new. Oh, 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 oh. I'm brand new. Oh, 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 oh. I'm brand new.
When you look at me, who do you see?
When you look at me,
What do you see?
When you see me, what do you think I am about?
What do you think I stand for?
I am just one person.
But I stand for something much bigger than myself.
my life was given to me by God.
And I want to use my life to show God to the world.
Some people say that youth are the future of the church.
But youth are the present of the church too.
We are the church right now. When you see me,
I hope you see God shining through me.
It's my time.
It's your time.
it's our time
To represent.
This I Believe project is a essay-based project designed to allow seniors in high school to figure out what it is they believe.
I think it's important to know what I believe so that I can make the right choices and then I can form my own opinions to base off of what I believe.
When all else fails or you go through seasons of adversity, these cornerstones in your life will stay with you and they may be the foundations upon which you rebuild yourself.
Knowing what you believe kind of helps give that message out.
I think it's important to know what I believe because it represents who I am at my core.
It's kind of good to be a little bit introspective.
What I can say with this project, it really inspired us to state what we believe in and how we believe.
I used to believe that my gifts came through my soccer games, my competitive nature, and my work in the classroom. However, through volunteering on the 2019 Denver mission trip, spending countless hours with our Rezlife committee, and taking charge in our school's mental health week, my perspective has changed completely. I am told that my smile is contagious. They've helped me realize what my gifts truly are: kindness, energy, and particularly hope. I believe that my service shines through hope. In my opinion, service doesn't just come from acts, but also from the mindset we tackle them with. This value has been instilled in me by my mother, who, following the death of our grandparents, did everything she could to remain present with our family. Despite the grief we were all going through, she managed to hold on to her hope, teaching me an invaluable lesson in the process. I believe that hope serves the world. Sometimes all we need is a smiling face. The hope that I emit brings joy to others, and in turn, spreading kindness in the simplest way possible. Isn't that all what service is about? As I look towards the future, I can't wait to see how many people I can serve through my hopefulness. No matter the act, how large or small, hope itself serves the world.
I believe there is power in perspective. Understanding perspective is the key to empathy and, perhaps more so, the key to understanding people. I believe my emphasis on perspective can primarily be attributed to a couple of key events in my life that have helped shape who I am today. My parents divorced when I was 8 years old, and for the past 9 years, I've been raised with two different perspectives. And despite the hardship of going through a parent's divorce, I would say that it was ultimately a good thing. People that aren't happy together shouldn't stay together, and the event has contributed largely to who I am today. While one's perspective can be continuously broadened over time, it can also change in an instant. For me, that instant was on July 29th, 2020 at 12:46 a.m. It was at this moment that I learned of the tragic death of my good friend and coworker, Adrian Caganelli. Adrian died of a drug overdose. He was 19 years old. I felt like someone had yanked a carpet from underneath my feet, and my perspective on day-to-day life dramatically changed. I found that I no longer cared about trivial things that previously would have bothered me. A poor grade on a test, a petty argument. It seemed that in comparison to Adrian's death, none of these things really mattered in the grand scheme of things. After losing someone so suddenly and tragically, I stopped taking the people I care about for granted, knowing now that you never know how much time you really have left with the people you love. So the next time you find yourself in a political debate with a family member or an argument with a friend, consider your perspective and consider theirs. We all view the world through a limited lens, but the limits on your own lens are determined by what perspectives you are willing to consider and hear out.
The doctors told my mom and dad that my chances of survival didn't look good. And if I didn't make it, I most likely wouldn't have a very good quality of life due to my grade 4 brain hemorrhage. Every day was a touch and go. There was a prayer visual for me at my parents' church. The next morning, the bleeding on my brain had stopped. The doctor said that he didn't know how it happened, but my parents knew it was the prayers being answered. I believe in miracles because I am a miracle. I believe that caring is the way we all can get through these tough times together. It's what Christ wanted us to do. I believe in justice for all people, everyone who deserves to be treated fairly. This means we should stand up for those who can speak up for themselves, like George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, and Ahmaud Arbery. I believe what happened to them that could easily happen to me. There was no justice in the way that we treated, so that's why others felt they need to speak up for them. I must act with justice, I must love to show mercy, and I must be humble as I strive to live in the sight of my God.
To me, faith and the idea of God are too abstract and distant. So to simplify, I try and live out my faith in the way I treat other people. One way I try to live this out is through relating to people. Finding new ways to speak someone's language is an easy way to make them feel the love of God. Empathy is one of the most important attributes of any relationship. The way I realized this is through two of the closest people in my life. First, during my junior year, I went through a phase where I believed that everyone should have to earn my respect and no one was entitled to it. Naturally, this belief led to some disputes with my mom, and usually she's pretty patient, but eventually she called me out on it. People have much more going on in their lives than they let on. And I learned that I don't know everything. I learned that being open-minded can help you get along with many more types of people by empathizing and showing them that you accept who they are. My grandma, her group of friends talked to her about any problems they might have, and she would just listen and not be quick to judge. In that way, she made people feel welcome and let them trust her and get close with her. And I think that was her way of showing the love of God and that the people she talked to felt it. Judgment is something that is implied by many non-Christians when they think of Christianity. And I don't want to be a part of that stereotype. By the way I interact with people, I not only live out my faith, but I also feel God's presence. Recently, I've been looking to feel God in my everyday life, so I feel Him talking to me more and more. Like when I have a really fun time hanging out with my friends or have a deep talk with one of them. Since I've been trying to feel God in my relationships, I feel myself getting closer to my friends and family, but even more importantly, I feel myself getting closer to my relationship with God and getting deeper in my faith.
There are no parameters to doing good deeds. You just do them. Volunteering, while not necessary, is a very effective way to augment any experience. My volunteering experience have been the highlights of my summers, and I wouldn't trade them for anything because of how much they've impacted my life. Finding new ways to do good can help highlight every and each day, and even the darkest days can have positive ripples because of your volunteering. I believe in the devotion to each and every task I approach. Committing to a set of goals and achieving them is an elevating experience, but devotion is superseded by effort. I believe in balance and the importance of making sure you can do all the things you love. Spending too much time working on a single thing can lead to burnout. I believe that time should be spent doing things that have to be done, but also things that bring you personal enjoyment. Personally, my best example of this is my mom. Between leaving her job to take care of me and my siblings to taking a job close to home so she could stay connected to us, my mom has always exuded balance. When I entered high school, she reiterated this lesson to me. I was constantly busy with homework and studying, and I barely had any free time. However, my mom knew that studying each and every day in my room alone would not help augment my future me. She had insisted on watching weekly television as a family and having weekly family dinner on Sunday nights. I'm beyond grateful for her because what I remember most from high school isn't doing the homework, getting the grades, but rather this family time that we spent together. Dedication, doing good work, and balance are three values that I've come to cherish. Over the years, these values have become the cornerstones of my life and a backbone for everything I accomplish. I believe that with these three values in my heart, I cannot go wrong.
We are taught as kids that God is love, and it is explained as an easy, fast explanation, as if it is that simple. But when you look deeper, it becomes more complicated on what love is and how to express it. Some people take that message to mean kindness, hold the door for others, pay for the person behind you, help set the table. Some interpret love to mean affection. I personally think of God's love as grace. It is one of the more difficult ways to express God's love. It requires us to change perspective and to think of how other people feel even when that person has hurt us. It is difficult to be forgiving and gracious in these moments. I value grace so much because it is something I want to receive as well. I find that I am very hard on myself. I have, and still do, struggle with anxiety and OCD. I nitpick every mistake and decision I make. Because of this, I have changed how I view the world entirely. Showing grace to others as I would wish for myself is something I live by every day. As cliche as it is, you never know what battle someone is fighting. They might be battling their own mind. It is so very important to give them grace and to give them space. To not point out all of their mistakes, but to let them feel God's love through a moment of acceptance and forgiveness. It is so important to give them space to step back and allow them to process how they feel without judgment, help them, or simply be there for them. They need to feel emotions without judgment and know those feelings are valid and vital to God's grace. Shame, guilt, and fear are the barriers to grace, and we help tear them down. It is just as important to give grace to others as it is to give to ourselves. We are worthy of grace.
On November 4th, 1996, my mom and dad had a beautiful, healthy baby boy named Cade, who was diagnosed with Down syndrome. They believed then, as they do now, that Cade was a gift and had a special purpose in life. A caring and enriching home environment, early intervention, and an integrated education efforts are shown to have a dramatic positive effect on a child with Down syndrome. But when Cade was born 22 years ago in Orange County, California, there wasn't enough of that. My mom wanted to make sure that her son wasn't being treated like a nobody, but was getting equal education and life as any other typical kid. There are many things I've learned through my family over the years. Some major traits I've gained from Cade include selflessness, joy, inclusivity. Including others is a huge part of my morality. When my parents realized how much better job training, health, education, and housing could be for the special needs community, they started a nonprofit organization called Team Up for Down Syndrome. This organization is dedicated to helping improve the lives of individuals and their families living with Down syndrome. Their goal is to raise the public's awareness, both locally and nationally, of the positive contributions that individuals with Down syndrome make. During my childhood, I traveled to Ohio every Christmas, but a change was coming. Grandma was diagnosed with Alzheimer's disease when I was very young. My mom and dad decided that it would be best for them to live with us. Through living with Kate and my grandparents, I have come to understand how they have shaped my life. I've gained many lessons from them over the years, two key virtues being patience and strength. God has a plan for every single one of us. He had his hands over our family through the period with my grandparents and will continue to watch over us as long as we love each other and give time to him.
I believe God has a plan. I believe that I was not consulted on such things. I do understand I have an odd collection of talents, interests, and passions that are just, well, there. I believe that my faith, my personal odd collection, may have something to do with a plan that I really know nothing about. Could the meaning of life be that I am to take my odd collection into new opportunities with new people and see what happens? Walk by faith? COVID hit me really hard being an extrovert. I had a difficult time spending so much time alone. My mom saw something on Facebook about Blue Valley West cross country being able to have a season because it was outside. It was too bad that I hated running. But my mother hated my sulking even more and literally pushed me out the door the first day. You start out with all your friends, and then throughout the course you start to create space in between each runner until you're running by yourself. Now, feeling alone was something that scared me. I joined the team not to be alone. Yet here I am, few distractions, just me in an open field. No music, no talking. At first I was terrified, but at the end of the season I was at peace with the feeling. Alone time wasn't so scary, and COVID, while still pain, wasn't so scary. So peace that surpasses understanding, courage to stay the course during a time of adversity, faith in the knowledge that I can be alone and I will be okay. All because my mom was on Facebook. Or is this one of those moments that if you are open to opportunity and not so fixed on your own plan, an experience can come along and be life-changing? Is that how God works? Perhaps. All I know is that I'm much better for being open to a plan that was not my own. And I'm open to however I might fit into God's plan, whatever it is.
Even those hard times, we can get through this together.
This I believe.
And this I believe.
This I believe.
I believe.
This I believe.
This I believe.
And this I believe.